Hi, everyone. Thank you all so much for coming to Rise today. We're really excited to have our friends at VCET here as part of our Returns on Rural Investment track. So Nicole Eaton and David Bradbury from VCET are really great partners of the University of Vermont and the Leahy Institute for Rural Partnerships, and we're happy to have them host our pitch lab today. So I'll let them take it away.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dave Bradbury and Nicole here, and we love talking with entrepreneurs, founders, doers, and builders every day. VCET's in its 21st year, was born here at Farrell Hall at UVM. We work with about 300 entrepreneurs a year for no-cost advising one-on-one, which is pretty stunning given what all you do out there. And today we're about people, platform, and protein sources. The protein are federal grants that we help secure, as well as investing from 2 venture funds that are revolving or evergreen in nature. The platform that Nicole runs really is trying to come up with actionable advantages to help you start, scale, sustain your business for the long term. It's perks, it's programs, it's mentoring, and all the rest. And then people. Our team of 4, our board of directors, and about 300 mentors that we ask for moments of their time to have quick coffees, a more substantive dialogue with you to help pay it forward for this next generation of doer and maker. So is that pretty much it about VCET?
Yeah, that's great. We could go on, but that's great. Real quick, I'm going to be using this because you will not be able to see me standing behind that. But this pitch lab is basically an opportunity for you to either prepare a pitch if you've never done one before, or if you've created thousands of pitches, just hearing maybe a different perspective, or getting more examples of what we think a good pitch looks like, and how to craft a really good pitch. This is coming from an investor perspective, so there's different reasons why you would pitch, but we're really coming at it from a point of fundraising and getting investors and partners on your side. So throughout this next hour, we're going to explain some tips that we like to see for even before creating the actual pitch deck, like what you should be thinking about before making it, what you should put on your slides, generally speaking. And then we're going to hear a really good example of a pitch from a local entrepreneur. And then at the end, you all will be able to pitch maybe an idea that you already have or hear from someone at your table. And then we'll close with sharing some resources that you'll be able to really walk away with, so you have some actionable items to walk out the door and hopefully raise some money if you need some of that.
All right, does it sound good? And if not, if Doug Merrill falls asleep, then I know we're going to change it up on the fly. So, all right, Doug, you're the canary. So let's talk about before the pitch. There's a lot of talking points here, but those are available in the QR code here at the end. But really, I think what we have seen over the years, the work ahead of actually asking for money is the most important. Anybody else here a surfer, like time in the water? Ken Merritt? Yep. TJ, of course. Wonderful. Well, I like to think of startups and pitching around really talking about the surf conditions, the surfboard, and the surfer. So surf is sort of macro trends. What wave is coming? Is it demographic, regulatory, cultural change? Like, what are we trying to frame an opportunity around? You have buoys way offshore that might be market research, right? You've got other reports from fellow entrepreneurs floundering in the seas at night. So those are all things to understand you're part of this wave that's coming, and we want to build something for that moment. Your product or technology, that's the surfboard. Different waves, different conditions require a different size sail, different size board, right? You don't want a twin fin fish if you're going off a 50-foot wave. I'm not doing that anyway. Some of you may, but that's just something to keep in mind, right? You need the right product for the right moment, the right time. And then finally, the surfer, proxy for the founders. What conditioning have you done, right? Have you studied? Have you gotten mentors? Have you built an advisory board, right? That's almost like water safety in some regards. So again, the fit and balance amongst this surfboard and surfer, I think, is really something it helps me frame it. You may have your own frame of reference for that, but it's a nice little proxy. What we love to see is you have to create some momentum in advance of a meeting or an ask. Okay, you've been working on it. What is that? Did you file a provisional patent, for example? Have you built a team? Have you sent out a survey? These are little things that make a first impression of like, whoa, these folks are doers. They can execute. They're thinking about it. They're chipping away at it. So you want to think of how you present that in your engagements before a meeting, but also during the meeting, okay? Timelines, little check marks, right? Nothing is better to see than a timeline with 3 green check marks, a couple yellow ones that you need our money to accomplish, and then maybe some big ones in the future. Create cadence, momentum. That differentiates you from the pack. I call it opposition research, but really it's preparation on your investors. Surprisingly, almost 2/3 of folks don't do research on us, or our funds, or our portfolio in advance, right? It's just like magically they did a Google search or asked ChatGPT, who do I talk to? And poof, it arrives. So it just ruins your chances of getting a response, getting a meeting. So what do I mean by research? Where did the investors go to college? What do they like to write about? What hobbies do they have? Is there anything in their profile that says Vermont or UVM or Middlebury or Bennington? Those are little connection points that help you get an audience. Okay, so put that work in. And, ultimately, it's telling a story that's compelling, right? How are you memorable, right? If someone is seeing thousands, if not hundreds of credible opportunities, okay? It's really, really difficult to screen that way. So who doesn't like a good story? Raise your hand, right? Exactly, right? So that is something that we found differentiates. A specific ask, half of folks don't have an ask. I think the mistake that we were talking about earlier, Nicole, is, I want to raise between $300,000 and $3 million. Well, you don't know what you want. So why are we spending time at this moment? So again, just little things to get precision, demonstrate a story that's compelling, and execution that is happening. The other thing we found is around what to expect. Angels are different than institutions. Institutions are different than family offices. But angels are those aunts and uncles, right? Affinity funds associated with a place, a college, a professional group. Those are your highest potentials for conversation. Okay, the standards are all over the place. It varies on how professionally run they are. But those have been the ones that have changed my life as an entrepreneur in Vermont. Many years ago, a fellow named Jason Bacon walked up and handed our little company $50,000 because he liked the teacher I was doing it with. So those moments of magic can happen, low probability, but they do. Institutions, I would just be careful that you try to understand what they're trying to accomplish as a fund. Okay, the rule of thumb right now is take a fund size, say it's $50 million. They're looking for investments that will return $50 million or more. They want a home run, and they know if they make 20 investments, they might get 1 or 2. So that is sort of the order of magnitude as you frame the opportunity that we'll chat a little bit more about here in a second. And I think the other thing that I learned the hard way as an entrepreneur and have seen is you're being tested along the way, okay? And will this team execute? Are they coachable, right? That's an easy one to appeal to our ego. Oh, they like what we said. Awesome. Like, these are all ways to build trust and to see that you are undeniable in how you want to accomplish this. You're not just a tourist trying to start a company, and it builds trust over time. And it's not a quick process, unfortunately. I promise I only have 2 more of these here. I don't like talking at you folks, but I think the advisory boards is the easiest way if I were starting out, particularly how many students are here? Right? Awesome. Probably not very experienced in the business world yet, but you have access to faculty, alumni, trustees. This is a way to wrap around expertise around your novel idea. Please do it. It helps open up doors. Often we see there isn't homework on a sector or comparables or substitute, and it doesn't come across as a whole. It just shows up as laziness. And it's a hard word to hear, but it just looks like, oh, all we need is 1% of a big pot, 1% of China if they buy this. Doesn't work. We want to see how you built up the market from top down and bottom up. And those are things that require a little bit extra effort. And this is all stuff you can do ahead of time. And then, unfortunately, for those that hold patents in the room, we don't get excited about patents. It's more of what's the market like? Why do the customers need this threatened solution you're doing? So you usually get the benefit, hey, the science works. Talk to us about the market attributes, and that is where the magic seems to be most resonating. And the other one, truism, is for those that want money, try to seek out advice, right? If you seek money, you're just going to get advice, right? But if you seek advice, you might get money. Okay, that's the truism. There's a humility in that. It comes across as less transactional a moment, more of a relationship that gets built over time. For many of us to get to know entrepreneurs and their teams, it's a months-long or years-long process. And again, that just improves the odds. So I wouldn't say stay in your lab or don't stay in your barn cooking this up to perfection. Engage early, get feedback, come to events like this, network, find TJ Whalen to talk to, right, or Eric Munson to get feedback. That improves your odds. And then finally, for those that have an opportunity to watch others pitch, Launch VT's demo night is tonight, 5 to 8 online. We watch Shark Tank on Friday nights, right? You get to see the good and bad of presentations, but also you get to find out what feels right and authentic to you, okay? You've got to have your own voice, your own comfort, right? You're grounded because you're taking a risk, and everybody recognizes that. And then the last thing I would share is the goal of the first meeting is the second meeting. All right, except for that experience with Jason Bacon 25 years ago, no one else has ever thrown a checkbook at a podium that I've seen. Your goal is to be able to get a follow-up because you made that impression, and I think that is a really exciting position to be in. So I want to leave it over to Nicole to talk about some elements of the pitch, right?
Yes. Awesome. So these are now just some pointers with actually crafting your pitch. I think the first thing that we always see where it's a point of feedback is a lot of people start their pitch by telling us what their product is and what their solution is. And really it should start with the purpose. Like, what mission are you going towards? What is your purpose for the solution? Dave and I were even having a conversation this morning, and he shared with me the 2 most memorable pitches. He did not share, I don't even know what the products are still, but he shared these 2 hooks. Do you want to just share that quickly? Because
yeah, we've worked with over 4,000 founders and doers through the years, and Chad Brodsky was a junior here at UVM, walked down the hill. He says, hey Dave, I'm here to solve loneliness. This is how I'm going to do it. And he handed me an app. I was like, whoa. And then the other was an incredible woman who came out of one of the research labs with BioFlag Therapeutics, I think it was called at the time. And Lynn came down, she's like, chemotherapy kills. And here's what we're going to do differently. So again, you're trying to get someone's attention. Mm-hmm. And I went like this. Like the noise of the day went like that. So if you've got an opening or an affinity or an emotion to tap into, that helps really clarify the purpose. Mm-hmm.
I was like, Dave, when were those? I've never heard of them. He's over 15 years ago. Okay, great. Well, then there's your answer. So yeah, try to get a good hook and one-liner. And then go into your problem. What pain point are you solving? Not necessarily this is my product and this is how I'm going to solve it, but what is the problem? And then going into the solution and explaining what your piece of hardware is or what your app is. I think the main thing about the solution slide is don't explain the hard specs of whatever you're doing. Really explain why it's solving the problem that you just mentioned. Because you do have an appendix for that reason to show the patents that you have on the tech, the details of really how it's working. I don't have a background in tech, and when somebody pitches me and goes really into I totally get it. You should be proud of this really hard work, but I don't understand it. So if you could just explain the solution that it's solving, the narrative, going along with the narrative, and then explaining your specs later in the appendix, that's how it should be. And then, as Dave mentioned, so I won't go too deep into these 2 points, but the business model and the go-to-market, as he said, don't just say, this is where we're going to go. We're going to get 1% of China and we're going to thrive. Really be realistic in that. Having a beachhead market, an initial market where you can really, it is realistic and we can believe in you, especially with early stage startups. We have a lot of students in here probably building companies as well. You have a whole network of people and businesses who are willing to help you. So maybe start the commercialization process with those and those partners, because that is meaningful. We don't need you to take over an entire country or part of a country in order for us to fund you. And then lastly, the competitors. Everyone has a competitor, even if it's not entirely direct. It is really important to show that you have some humility and that Eric's laughing. It's the truth though. Some people are like, we don't have any competitors. Like, we're gonna do great. I would still show some. We have in the resource sheet that we'll share, we do have a really good chart that will explain maybe how to do this, but I think choose 3 or 4 key points. Like, where do you compare in terms of cost, in terms of the size of the product, in terms of wherever you think you win and it compares to another company is great. And then the team. When we say the team, we mean 2 or 3 people on your team, not the entire engineering team that's building something. Also, if you have an advisory board or you have investors on board, it's really important that you put them on as well, because it shows expertise. The thing about the team is this is where we go and we're like, okay, can we trust these people? Where are they coming from? What experience do they have? Who do they have on board with them? So this is the slide to show that. And then the projections go along with, don't be realistic. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then lastly, the ask, really, really important. I personally love having a timeline with this sheet as well. Like, when are you going to use these funds? It's really easy to say that we're raising $2 million this year, but okay, what are you going to do with that? What does that look like? How is that going to roll out? So being specific about your ask. And also being honest. If you're not entirely sure, you can say that. I think you should be confident in the amount of money you're raising, but you don't need to be super detailed on every single timeline. And then, as I mentioned before, having the data, having the surveys, having the details of a hardware or the software that you're building, it is important, because maybe the investor will ask, but the point of this pitch is to get questions in return, not to get a check immediately. So make sure that you have an appendix to answer those more detailed questions, but they don't need to be in the initial 10-slide deck. So with that being said, Dave?
A little bit about every investor is different, or every fund is a little bit different. The great news is Vermont has more organized funds than I can remember in probably lifetime doing early stage investing. Okay, really an exciting time. We link to, I think, all of them as well in the resource area. And our philosophy is find the right believers, find the right source of capital for you. Maybe it's us sometimes, but it doesn't have to be. And I think, what we look for very simply, are you undeniable as a team? Right? What brick walls are you going to climb, knock down, engineer a way around? That just shows grit, determination, and this is a team we know will figure it out, because it is not a straight line at all. What specific insight are you bringing, right? This is the product or the surfboard for the conditions, right? Like, why this? Why now? And how are you protecting it? How are you launching it into the marketplace? And then is this market inevitable? So undeniable team, specific insight, and an inevitability. Right? Like, we're going to do more mRNA-based therapeutics. Yes. Right? We're going to do more aging in place as a country. So what do we need to keep folks at home safe, cared for, manage the information change? So these things are inevitable. So those are things we're looking for. And I'm still looking for a graphene company, too. So if anybody's working in graphene, please come see us. And very simply, we want to be really accessible to the first-time entrepreneurs. Again, we like to demystify things, help explain things, and try to workshop toward a successful fundraise or a successful launch of your business. Team tech timing terms. That's really, there's no secret to what we look for. Why you? Why this? Why now? And then what benefit? I think that's where we're a little bit different with our evergreen funds. We're a nonprofit with a few for-profit subsidiaries. We co-invest with the majors, both local and nationally. And really what benefit? Is it the highest financial return, or is this levering some resource in a community around Vermont, in a college town, a natural resource, or is it creating wealth and income in new ways that we see broad appeal and broad potential for? And I think that's really a neat way to think about it. It makes our jobs feel a little bit better, even when we say no thank you to folks, which is mostly what we do, which stinks. Is there anybody in here that's asked us for money that we've said no to? Oh yeah, hey Bill, thanks for coming. Yep. Awesome. I think I covered that. So that's just sort of our process. But everybody else usually details on their website, this is what we want. Some people want an intake form, right? Others want to just send your business plan to. Again, the takeaway from an earlier point I was trying to make is it's terribly frustrating. You will hear different answers from different people within the same 12-hour span. And you need to figure out where the noise is and where the signal is. And that's non-trivial. And I think that's where you really get back to your authenticity as a team and a company, and that sees you through.
So now I want to invite Logan Vaughn up. He is a rising senior at UVM, also an entrepreneur. This is his second company. The reason why we're going to have him do a short 4 or 5 minute pitch here is for you all to see what a good pitch looks like. This pitch has won multiple awards, and he's also pitching at Launch VT tonight, and was accepted into that program. And so he's worked on this for a really long time, has crafted this pitch. And so I really encourage you all to watch it, not just to listen to how cool Gift Drive is, but really to see, okay, what is Logan doing as he pitches? How is he engaging? What is the narrative? And what do you like? What do you not like? What are you confused about? So, I'm going to hand it off to him, and then we're going to circle back.
Great. Thank you so much, Nicole and Dave. It's funny watching you guys do all the things you should do in a pitch, and I actually am missing some of those things, so I have to work more on my pitch. But I'm excited to be here today and present Gift Drive and kind of do a trial run for Launch VT tonight, which I hope all of you come and join and see the other pitches there as well. Awesome. I'll just go ahead and get started. Last year, Americans gave $392 billion to charity. 2/3 of that came from one generation, the baby boomers. Over the next decade, that generation will age out and those checks will start to disappear. That means nonprofits are facing a $255 billion funding gap, threatening organizations like your local food shelf, homeless shelter, and family center. But that's where Gift Drive comes in. My name is Logan Vaughn, and I am the CEO and founder of Gift Drive. Alongside me is a team with years of experience in nonprofit development and software engineering. And over the last couple of years, we've been speaking with hundreds of nonprofits, both here in the US, or here in Vermont and around the US, and hearing the problems they face. The main problem we heard across the board was that most organizations are relying on outdated tools built for donors from 20 years ago that have fragmented systems and disconnected donor data across fundraising, marketing, and other tools they use. At the same time, the next generation of donors expect giving to feel like everything else on their phone. Mobile, fast, seamless, with modern payments. But right now, the current infrastructure for that is either too expensive or simply non-existent. Gift Drive is the social giving platform for the future. Through a comfortable social giving experience, donors can discover and engage with the causes they care about and see and share the direct impact of the donation. In one platform, nonprofits are able to easily share their mission and access an exponential amount of donors through a dramatically lower cost of acquisition, with an entire backend of website builders, fundraising, development, and marketing in one system. Together, this solution fills the gap. And while that's our larger vision, we knew we had to start somewhere a little bit simpler. So through our conversations with nonprofits, we learned about the donor journey, and it turns out the first donor touchpoint a nonprofit has is with physical goods. It's not with writing a check or giving cash to a nonprofit. Most of first-time donations are through giving food to a food shelf, or clothes to a homeless shelter, or school supplies to a local classroom. In fact, 81% of first-time donations are made in that way. But most nonprofits don't have the resources to be able to run those effectively. They're using paper lists or spreadsheets or basically registries that take time, money, and resources away from them. So we launched Gift Drive in September 2025 as a wedge into the nonprofit market. And since then, we've been able to support over 170 nonprofits, both here in Vermont and across the US. Organizations using Gift Drive can simply go on to giftdrive.org, create a drive for free. So they can browse items in our catalog, add them to their page, and create an entire campaign page that lists their needed items that they can then share to their donor base through newsletters, social media, and even embed on their website. From there, donors can go on to giftdrive.org, browse organizations and needs, see the items they want to donate, and then complete the donation all within the platform. And Gift Drive will ship and fulfill the items directly to the organization or even the person in need. And then on the back end, we give organizations everything they need but never had. So ways to see who is donating to them, to follow up for larger donations and create relationships. Ways to see full analytics and reports on every drive they run. Way to track donations as they're shipped to their organization. And ways to embed their systems into their already existing CRM system and website. And Gift Drive is the only platform right now that's doing both physical and monetary donations. And we're the only ones that are building a social giving layer for the future of nonprofit fundraising. Since our launch in September, nonprofits on Gift Drive, from California to Florida to even here in our home state, have raised over 5,000 items worth nearly $65,000. Here in Vermont, the Lemoyle Family Center doubled the size of their holiday drive while saving $6,000 from their budget. The Williston Food Shelf raised $12,000 during the SNAP crisis. And a local homeless shelter here in Vermont purchased items that literally went to save people's lives during this last winter. So far, we've been entirely bootstrapped, and we're already generating revenue and acquiring customers, donors, and nonprofits. We've created partnerships with e-commerce retailers, as well as nonprofit associations and organizations. Looking forward, we're focused on building the platform up and scaling and building products such as fundraising co-pilots, agentic e-commerce APIs, and eventually the entire Gift Drive social experience and operations suite. And the market for Gift Drive is massive. Over 350,000 nonprofits every year run a physical item donation drive. They've taken 1.2 billion physical items worth nearly $18 billion in value. Pretty crazy. Beyond the physical item market, the market for fundraising is massive as well, both monetary and in other forms. And we give this to nonprofits at no cost, but we do make money through margins and fulfillment fees through physical and monetary donations. And in the future, we're building ways to create money through premium fees, corporate partnerships, as well as retail and brand commissions. We're excited to announce we're doing a $950,000 round to give us 18 months of runway to reach profitability and reach thousands of nonprofits. That money will go directly into helping us scale through our team, through our sales and marketing, and also through building our products and developing. And that fundraising will help us build the moat of Gift Drive and build the community that holds Gift Drive together. More donors or more organizations on the platform means more donors mean more donations, which creates a network effect of giving, making both organizations and the donors stronger on the platform. A $255 billion giving gap isn't just a future projection, it's already here. And in fact, most organizations are already behind. Gift Drive was built to fill that gap. So join us today in powering the future of fundraising. Thank you.
Hey, Logan. All right, Nicole, why don't you manage this Q&A part?
Oh, we're doing Q. Okay, I like this.
I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, maybe I can hand off this because we're going to work the room a little bit with people. But what are your guys' thoughts? I guess we'll start with what worked. What stood out to people?
I thought it was a very cool idea. I mean, it's really neat what you got. You seem to have a very end-to-end combination of a very good job. But two thoughts. It was a little quick, and maybe it's because I'm not familiar with seeing pitches, so I'm absorbing it and trying to put it into a framework. I wouldn't go any faster. But it looked like people were donating physical goods, had to pay a 20% fee on top of whatever they were donating, and 5% came off cash, and 3% was for something else. And again, that went quick, so I didn't pick it all up. Can you explain, how are those numbers?
Yeah.
Are they good numbers? Like, would you be better at 10% for physical donations or 3% for cash?
Yeah, so we mark up products on the platform 20%, and inside of that markup is also including the shipping costs, the taxes, and the fulfillment, API fulfillment fee.
Okay.
So it's not all marked up and going straight to us.
Right.
But that's just the general markup on the platform across the board to pay to make sure the service is existing and for our own revenue model.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
And that's a great reminder to use numbers. You're
Yes.
7 times more likely to make a sale or an impression if you put a number in your business point or your pitch.
And the number I can use for that too, which I should add, is that the average donation, we make $24 in revenue. So, yeah.
Any other question or feedback?
Hi, I'm Ashley McLeod. I work for the UVM Foundation, and this definitely made me think about my job. And I just had some questions, sort of follow-ups that weren't clear to me from your presentation.
Yeah.
One was just the longevity of this product for the nonprofits. How long are you anticipating that they're going to need this platform? Are they going to scale up from it and then like build up their donor base and have, you know, significant donors down the road that are going to support them without this platform?
Yeah.
Was one piece of it. And then just another piece was, as you think about like the options, I don't know what it looks like when folks go on. Do they see multiple options to donate to different organizations? And how are you going to funnel those to one? Because I tend to think that people get really overwhelmed with a lot of choices and want to support every single one that's interesting to them. So how are you going to be helping these organizations find donors that are going to commit and stay with them over the long term?
Definitely. So I like both of those questions a lot because it's a lot of the underlying point of building the platform. The platform was built out in the first part as a pipeline for new donors, so newer and younger donors to engage in an easy way with organizations. And then the hope is on top of what Gift Drive currently is, we can build that software that helps them create that long-lasting relationship and donate in other ways. So through donor-advised funds, through other types of giving, like probably UVM Foundation does. So having Gift Drive be the first touch point, but then also building the tooling for nonprofits to be able to cater to that relationship and keep them using Gift Drive. The other part of that, did I answer both of those questions or?
The second part was just about
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll say that majority of the donors currently on the platform are going directly to an organization that they saw either on social media or was shared directly to them. So they're not really going and looking at other causes. But the hope is to get to a point someday where it can be more of a discovery platform in a non-overwhelming way. So more catered discovery, so and personalized to donors. So they can go on the organization, they can see drives in their area and have more personalized experience giving.
Okay, so raise your hand if we have another question?
Just one more.
Great presentation. You've clearly done this a couple times, which is terrific. I liked the clarity of the slides. The biggest mistake I see is too much information, and it's hard to draw a conclusion from each slide. So I think you did a really nice job. The one exception I'd point out is you had a slide showing current and future sort of systems, and they were good. And I understood the names of most of the software platforms on there. It was hard for me to understand where Gift Drive sort of fit into that slide. So I'm not sure that added anything to the presentation. It might just be me, but I found that to be a little confusing.
Yeah.
And then finally, one of the things I didn't see, and maybe I missed it, but I came away saying you're looking for $950,000. What is that for? How long will that last? And do you have an idea in terms of like what type of investor are you looking for? Is this, as Dave said, is this your home run? Is this 950 going to turn into 20 million, or is this sort of a real seed? There's not. So have you thought that through, and do you think about a way to communicate that?
Yeah, definitely. I will say I also cut out a good amount of stuff in what I'd say verbally normally for a pitch.
Yeah, I told him he didn't have a lot of time.
Yeah, so
My fault.
that's also why I was going fast, because I was like, oh, I have time. But in the normal pitch, I do go a lot more in depth on where that money will go, the milestones we'll hit because of that, the runway it gives us. So yes, and we have more resources additionally I can pass along.
Great, thank you, Logan.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, one way to tell if that was captivating is raise your hand if you looked at your phone while he was talking. All right, just a handful. Good job, Logan. Okay, so we're asked to try to make this a little interactive of sorts. So what we want to do is spend a couple minutes at your table, or if you have a table of three, just turn around and join someone else. And statistically, someone has to have something to pitch at your table, okay? It might be a nonprofit you're working toward. It could be a funded research project. But if someone could be willing to be the guinea pig here, I'd love to benefit from the crowd and the feedback, because the benefit you get from diverse and sort of first impression responses from people goes a long way. So let's just do that for 10 minutes, and we'll just conclude and take a couple Q&As here for general, okay? We're going to try. See, this might work or not. Let's hope. All right, everybody. Can we reconvene as a group? Right? I saw one checkbook come out over there in the corner, so Bill's doing a great job, right? Didn't I see a checkbook, Bill? Okay. I thought no one knows what a checkbook is. All right, Venmo with a bunch of zeros and a comma. That's what we're talking about. So now we're really interested. Just did anybody learn anything from this experience? This little breakout. Heather, what did you learn? You raised your hand.
Never do that in Bradbury. I was really excited to see that every single person at our table had something to contribute for feedback. And it just reminded me that it's so important to put your ideas out there with whomever you can, because you're going to get all different feedback from different people.
Right, great thing. Ideas aren't usually stolen. There's a little bit of fear out there. Oh my gosh, you're going to take my idea and build it. Well, probably never it's going to happen, okay? Because the other side maybe isn't committed to it. They don't have the domain expertise. They haven't done the legwork there. So feel free to reach out. There's a lot of trusted sources, particularly here in Vermont, within our campuses, our communities, our co-working centers as well. All right, anybody else have a learning or insight from that exercise? Way in the corner, okay.
My name is Liza. I'm a PhD candidate here at the University of Vermont. I have learned that beyond just thinking about the funders, there are also some ecosystem actors that can help you think about funding and also think about funders. So I just met Tara from Small Business Administration, and she was telling me about the kind of services or help that they have for small businesses and startups. Maybe Tara can explain what she does.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Tara Bartlick. I'm the Outreach and Marketing Specialist with the U.S. Small Business Administration. So we are a federal agency who is tasked with helping small businesses. So a large portion of what we do is trying to make lending and capital more accessible to small businesses by eliminating some of the barriers with capital and other issues that small businesses may find. But what I was saying is we also have a really rich ecosystem of resource partners, so Vermont Small Business Development Centers, and they have advisors who can work one-on-one. So if you're looking for one-on-one support, they're a great place to reach out to. Thanks.
Love it, right? Anybody else have something they want to share? I really appreciate the table discussions, okay? They really were, the ones I heard, Nicole, were dialed in and engaged. I think for all of us, like, what's your elevator pitch, right? If you're gonna, if that moment of when you meet somebody on the street, the airport, at a conference like this, oh, what do you do? Great. We have that at VCET. So Nicole, when you meet a new person and someone says, what do you do? Let's hear it.
Turn on my mic. Ask me again so we can feel more natural.
What do you do? Tell me.
I run VCET's venture platform. We are a one-stop shop for entrepreneurs, and we have no-cost resources for any entrepreneur in the state of Vermont. So whether you want advising, we do one-on-one advising. We have 2 evergreen venture funds if you need capital. And then we also have perks that will save you over $500,000 a year per entrepreneur. So scan the QR code. Literally, scan the QR code for those resources.
Maybe talk through a couple of the resources, please.
Yes. So that was not planned, by the way. That was actually natural. I hope I did a good job, you guys. So yes, if you scan this QR code, it does have resources for you that will lead you to this page. If you just practice at the table or are hearing people pitch and you're like, oh man, I really want to do a better job at storytelling, our friends at Pillar VC, based in Boston, have created such an amazing storytelling template that will really help with a narrative. They have so many different startup kits as well. That's an amazing resource that we share with our entrepreneurs. You can also get the 10-slide pitch deck template, which is really helpful, goes over what I mentioned before of what you should put on each slide. And then we have the MIT Orbit platform. This is a VCET perk that we're really excited to share with you all. It is basically, you're able to type in any business idea and it will create a business model canvas for you. It will talk to you about commercialization strategies, different competitors. It's an AI-powered tool, but it's really helpful, especially for early stage ideas, just wanting to save a bunch of time getting answers. And then we have our own founder toolkit, which you'll be able to see from those startup perks that I was talking about, with discounts to customer discovery templates and so many other things. And then lastly, one-on-one advising. So we are here for you at no cost. Any entrepreneur is able to come into VCET. There's no limit on the hours that we meet with you. We can help you, whether that is, hey, I have an idea, can we talk about it? Or, hey, can you look over this term sheet for a potential investment that we're doing? So we're here to help. And then lastly, which is not up here, but it's over here, is we're having the ex-president of Tesla come to Vermont next Monday at Unlogic. And John McNeil is going to be talking with Dave just about specifically his new book, The Algorithm, which is fascinating. But it's going to be a really cool conversation, and that is also a free event. So we'd love to see you all on Monday night.
Thank you. And please sign up. We're running out of seats there. And John helped build SpaceX, Lululemon, General Motors, and is a really thought leader on sort of AI in the enterprise and lean startups today. So hopefully the interviewer will do a decent job and we'll get some of that meat out there for everybody. I think finally, I just wanted to say I had to do a pitch in 2007 with the leaders at VCET to try to save the organization and its idea. It was a startup that was struggling, and we had to pitch to this fellow called Senator Patrick Leahy, right? And gosh, he must have seen something in our idea on top of the potential of all the folks here in Vermont at UVM and elsewhere. And we're so deeply grateful. He gave us a chance to help thousands of people fund and own parts of 71 different companies, and very thankful to be here. And please reach out, and don't forget to start here at VCET. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, David and Nicole. Really appreciate you guys being here with us today, and thank you all for joining us for the workshop. We're now going to have a short networking break in the Fireplace Lounge. There's a treat from Sisters of Anarchy ice cream, and then you can head into the Grand Maple Ballroom for a performance from David Fierzig, the Vermont pianist. Thank you all.